Astral Radiance is just 1 week away, and we have a few more decks we gotta cover before it's fully released. Hey everybody, Nick from 9Card TCG, and today we're going to be covering what I think is going to be a very popular Astral Radiance deck, at least at the beginning. As soon as Astral Radiance comes out, this card is very, very popular. Even though I'm not super hyped for this deck, I think it could be pretty good, and I think a lot of people are going to try to make it work and play it. And of course, we are talking about Darkrai VStar. Now, before we get into that, if you haven't already subscribed, leave a like and a comment. Those things tell YouTube this is a good channel. Other people should watch it. If you're in the market for some TCG accessories, I'm affiliated with Dragon Shield, so you can use the link in the video description to get yourself some awesome Dragon Shield matte sleeves. They're the only ones I use to show up to regionals looking and feeling like a pro. Lastly, and I do get a kickback, which means I can make more and better videos for you guys. Now, actually, lastly, if you want to become a member and help support the channel a little bit more directly, there is a join button. You can click it to see all the different perks you get, but none of that's ever expected. Just you being here is enough for me. Now, with all that said, let's head over to the Pokegear app so we can take a look at this Darkrai V-Star deck. Darkrai V, 210 Dark type Pokemon. It's weak to Grass and has a retreat cost of 2. Now, normally, I would say that Grass weakness isn't really a problem, but Grass is getting a little bit of support in Astral Radiance in the form of Gardenia's Vigor or Gardenia's Vitality, whatever the card is actually called. We're getting a little bit more Grass support, and Arceus Inteleon Beedrill is a pretty popular and a very good deck. So you can get one-shot by a Beedrill here, and that could be a little bit challenging, a little bit annoying to deal with. Now, look, that's just what some Dark types have to deal with. It is what it is. Dark Wind is your first attack for a Dark and Colorless Energy, does 50 damage. Dark Hole, which I do hope they change, or the name is changed in English, that can't be the real name. 2 Dark and a Colorless, it does 130 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. It's okay, you'll take a one-shot on Dark Weak Psychic Pokemon V, but not V Maxes. Even if you have a Choice Belt attached, you're hitting 160 times 2. You're barely getting there, 320, so it's probably not worth it to bother. Darkrai V-Star is really what we're going for. 270 health, and that 270 does not escape you from Beedrill's wrath. Beedrill with the Choice Belt now hits for 140, times 2 is 280. You can still get one shot by a Beedrill. Do not forget it exists. Beedrill has 2 attacks. Jet Spear is one, Persisting is the other. Jet Spear is the one we're worried about here. Your attack, though, is Dark Pulse for 2 colorless energies, which is nice because you could, in theory, power this up with the double turbo energy, and yeah, you'd hit for 10 plus 30 more damage for each dark energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Now, that's with the double turbo energy, so in reality, since we only have dark energies in this deck, we're hitting for 30 plus 30 more for each dark energy attached to all of your Pokemon, and I really want to emphasize all there. You do not want to commit all of your energy to Darkrai or to one Darkrai. You want to spread those energies out, and so you should do that. That's my recommendation, is to spread the energy out, because if you load it up all into one Pokemon that gets bossed or gets KO'd, your next attack is going to do basically nothing. I also recommend that you know the math needed to hit certain thresholds. How many dark energies do you need in play to knock out a 210 health Pokemon, to knock out a 280 health Pokemon, to knock out a 330 health Pokemon? Know your math. Do keep in mind that you have Choice Belt to reduce the amount of energies you need in play by 1, something like that. We do also have a Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres is great for this deck. Well, this is the V. The V is really good for this deck because of the Dire Flame Wings ability. Means you can get energy from the discard without needing something like Dark Patch, we'll talk about in a minute, and it helps you do, even if the Moltres is in the bench, getting that energy in play with Dire Flame Wings means that your Dark Pulse on Darkrai does more damage. We also have a pretty good attack here in the form of Aura Burn. It does 190 damage, which means with the Choice Belt, you're hitting 220, enough to knock out pretty much any Pokemon V. And with the self-acceleration, you can Dire Flame Wings, play Raihan, get an energy onto it, then attach for turn, search your deck for like something like a choice belt or air balloon or whatever it is you need for that particular turn, and then there you go. You could just promote this and search a choice belt. You don't need to get an air balloon, but whatever. And then there you go. You're knocking out Pokemon V. You're taking a one-shot on anything that's Dark weak and a VMAX, even without the choice belt. Pretty good. Also weak to grass. So that's your big weakness here is grass. We do have a Crobat V, really just to help draw some energies, but you could, in theory, use the Venomous Fang attack, hit for 70 damage, poison your opponent's active. Is it super relevant? Probably not, but it could be a way to just sacrifice a Pokemon as you try to build up to something else. It could be a way to knock out a Sobble if you're to take a really quick or cheeky KO, something you could do. Sparkling Greninja or Radiant Greninja in English is a fantastic inclusion for this deck. Concealed cards is the ability to discard energy from your hand, draw 2 cards. Now, why is that so good in this? Well, because one, we only have dark energies, and we want them in the discard so we can use Dire Flame Wings, and so we can use Dark Patch. Dark Patch lets you attach a dark energy from your discard to one of your benched dark type Pokemon. So, yeah, that's going to be a really nice combo. Get an energy, discard it, draw 2 cards, Dark Patch it, or Dire Flame Wings it onto your Pokemon. We do also have Galarian Moltres here. You don't necessarily need Clara in this deck, even though it might be at times beneficial for that last kind of, take that big KO. But we don't also have the Inteleon line to be able to cherry pick Clara. And if you start an early game, it's kind of a dead card. So, not something I really think you need. Because again, we do have Dark Patch, we do have Raihan where we can make things happen. We can get energies onto this pretty easily. So the whole thing is Fiery Wrath. It does 20 damage plus 50 more damage for each prize card our opponent has taken. So if our opponent decides that they want to knock out a Darkrai VStar and then they get tired of something like our Radiant Greninja, well, they've taken 3 prizes. So now our Fire Wrath is hitting for 170 damage, and if we're playing something like a Mew, now that 170 becomes 340, and we're taking one-shots on VMAXs with a single prize Pokemon. Malevolent Charge is a pretty good ability. When you play this card from the hand to the bench, you can attach up to 2 dark energies from your hand to this Pokemon, and then you can still attach a third for the turn. So it's a really good way to just accelerate and burst and hit for big damage out of nowhere. We do have the Bibero line with the Industrious Incisors ability, so that we can kind of refill our hand as we're constantly discarding stuff. We want to be able to refill it and draw, so once during your turn, draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. Really nice consistency engine. Speaking of consistency engine, we do have Trekking Shoes here. And Trekking Shoes is a new card with Astral Radiance. Look at the top card of your deck, and you may put that card into your hand, or discard it and draw 1 card. This works in a lot of ways. You might find a card you need and be able to draw it. You might try to thin out the deck a little bit, and then discard a card and draw another before you play like a big research. You might draw a card, say, oh, that's an energy, I want to discard it so I can Dire Flame Wings and so I can Dark Patch, and then you draw a free card. It's really, really useful in this deck, and I think having 4 of is pretty nice. We already talked about Dark Patch, Quick Ball and Ultra Ball. They're great ways to discard energy cards from the deck, get them in the discard, and then they're not, sometimes when you discard a card, it's like you're losing a resource, but not in this deck. In this deck, you want to discard stuff, and we haven't talked about Darkrai's VStar ability, and we're going to in a second. Discard a card, search your deck for a basic, discard 2 cards, search your deck for any Pokemon, and then we have our Choice Belt, which does 30 more damage to our opponent's active Pokemon if it's a Pokemon V, reduces our retreat cost by 2, switch your opponent's bench Pokemon, one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, discard your hand, draw 7. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out from your opponent's or during your opponent's last turn, you can play this card, attach an energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon, and then search your deck for any card you want. Both players shuffle their hands, put it to the bottom of the deck. The person who played this draws 5, their opponent draws 4. And then Training Court here, Once during your turn, you can get a basic energy from your discard, put it into your hand. These are all really good cards, and one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that we can use Training Core to get an energy from the discard to discard it with Radiant Greninja, draw 2 cards, and then Dark Patch that energy. So you can kind of like constantly cycle the same energy over and over again. Now, we haven't talked about Darkrai V-Star's V-Star power. Now, it's an ability, and it's called Dark Abyss, and you got to take 2 item cards from your discard and put them back into your hand. What item cards do you think we're going to find? It's going to be something like Dark Patch most likely, but you can go ahead and find something like an Ultra Ball or a Choice Belt, Air Balloon, something like that. You can find Trekking Shoes, you can find this Escape Rope in case you need to move Pokemon real quick. There's a lot of things that you could get with that. You get those 2 items and then you could just play them. It's a really good ability with something like the Dark Abyss ability that technically allows us to play 6 Dark Patches, and whether that's in one turn or over the course of the entire game, you could play 6 Dark Patches technically, attach for turn, that's 7, and then Raihan for 8 energy in a single turn. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, and you haven't played any Dark Patches, you have all 4 in your hand somehow, you can make this happen. Is it likely to happen like that? No, you're likely to play 1 or 2, then, Dark Abyss, play them again. You have to have those energies in the discard for Dark Patch to work, so you don't be afraid to use Radiant Greninja. Don't be afraid to discard those energies with Ultra Ball and Quick Ball, and you could be taking some pretty big damage with something like a Darkrai. If you have 10 energies in play, you do 300 damage plus 30, which means you're taking knockouts on Pokemon VMAX. And if you have a Choice Belt, you only need 9 energies. And technically, if everything worked out the way we wanted it to, you can get up to 8 in a single turn. So if you had 1 in play the previous turn, you hit that 9, and now you're taking a one-shot on a Pokemon VMAX. Really, it's possible. Likely you are to be getting 1 to 3 energies over the course of a couple of turns, or each turn I should say, and you'll build up to that 8, 9 as the game goes on. You're probably not going to get it all in one turn. Oh, and technically we have Galarian Moltres, so we actually could get 9 energies in play on a single turn if we had the ultimate setup. 9 energies in the discard, 4 Dark Patches in our hand, didn't use our V-Star ability. Galarian Moltres is in play, and there's no path preventing us from using our abilities. And one of our Pokemon was knocked out during our opponent's last turn, and we have Raihan in our hand. You can out of nowhere take a one-shot on a VMAX. Now, don't count on it, but it's doable. And I think that's kind of the thing about this, is that your opponent takes knocks out your Darkrai. It's like, all right, well, I just lost 2-3 energies, but I got 6 Dark Patches with this ability, and I also have Dire Flame Wings, and I also have Raihan. It's not really that big a deal. I can get these energies back pretty quickly, and also Galarian Moltres can do some big damage, so maybe it's not as bad as I think it's going to be. Do you need the Escape Rope? No, maybe you can go like some switches. You can go switch. Do you need this, I don't know, do you want a Pal Pad to be able to try to get some supporters that you might have had discard early game back into the deck? You want to recover those bosses, recover that Raihan, something like that. Yeah, you might be able to make room for a Pal Pad somewhere. This list is already kind of lean, and I don't really know what you would cut. I think the first thing I look at is, of course, Trekking Shoes, even though they seem super, super good. Probably not going to end up cutting those, so it ends up coming down to like, do you need 4 Ultra Balls? Do you need 2 Choice Belts? If we can get them back with something like Dark Abyss, I don't really know. Maybe Raihan's not as useful as you want it to be. You never have it when you need it, so you say, you know what, I want more draw. I go for a third Marnie. I go for a Clara, something like that. This again, all of these deck lists are just templates. They are work in progress. They're just something for you to say, okay, here's an idea. I like this part of it. I don't like this part of it. I'm going to make these changes, and you try it, and you say, okay, I need more energies. I'm just not drawing into them at the rate I want. Even with all this, the Beaverell and the Greninja and the research, I'm just not hitting energies enough. So maybe you find energy search. Maybe you say, you know what, forget the trekking shoes. Instead of hoping I hit an energy, I just play 2 trekking shoes and 2 energy search, and now I have more outs to energy instead of hoping I hit them. Right, there's a bunch of ways we can take this. Do I think this is sufficient? Yeah, I do. I've seen a few other deck lists that look exceedingly similar to this one, and I'm not copying other people. This is just what I would think. This is what I would play, at least at first, to try it out. So if you see this and you're like, this looks like so-and-so's list, yeah, it probably does. It's Turbo Dark mostly. I don't know what other way you're going to play this. Could you go the Inteleon line? Absolutely. Could you go Arceus Darkrai? You can go Darkrai? Of course you can. I don't know if I like that. But you can go Arceus Darkrai, you can go Inteleon Darkrai, you can go Beaverell Darkrai. You have your preference. Just like with Arceus, there's 1,000 different ways to play. You play this the way that you want to. And I'm done talking about it, I guess, because I'm just repeating myself. So there you go, Darkrai VStar. I hope you enjoyed. Found this a little informative. Let me know if this is the deck that you're really looking forward to, or if there's some other deck that you plan on playing when it comes, or when Astral Radiance releases next week, or on May 27th. I keep saying next week, but that's assuming people watch this the day it comes out, which, you probably won't. Anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said before, like, subscribe, comment, maybe share on social media, check out the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.